Well, great conversation there, Anastasia Bado, and her guest newspaper review segment. Now, well, we want to talk about forex trading and cryptocurrencies, the financial trading market. This is a very large market, of course, and if you're any person who is concerned and interested in stocks, then you should stick with us as we speak to the founder and CEO of Acex, Mr. Ian Muller. Mr. Ian Muller will be joining us via Zoom. We'll be going into a conversation about what I've already indicated. Now, just a while ago, Acex launched a platform to enhance commodities trading. And if you don't know much about commodities trading, it's what the boys are doing lately. Apart from the man them who usually want to, go into betting, commodity trading, or if you would put it, forest trading, as the ish right now, and it takes a lot of studies and a lot of time and effort to go through. But Access with its platform has made it quite easier, and they're hoping that nations, African countries especially, will look into it. Now, in their report, they indicated that 40% of the world's commodities come from Africa. But when it comes to the determination of prices of these commodities, Africa seems to be lost on it, of course, only because we don't usually partake when it comes to the trading of these commodities. We only export them where we have to, and that's it. It's quite interesting because even the Bank of Ghana at the time also sought to bring out its own cryptocurrency, which also serves as one of those modes of trading in commodities. And we don't know when the pilot is starting yet, but the Bank of Ghana indicated that they were going to come up with their own cryptocurrency. Now, Acex is also coming up with its own cryptocurrency, apart from the platform that would aid in the transaction, the commodity transaction. And so we'll take a quick turn. When we come back, we'll be joined in by Ian Muller via Zoom. Oh, I see. I see. I understand we have him on the line. Mr. Muller, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, kindly take us through Acex, the Acex platform. For our viewers who are watching, what is Acex and what does it hope to achieve?
All right, Acex is the African Consolidated Exchange. We are still in the formative stage. We launched on the 17th of December last year, and the makeup of the Acex, basically, it is an exchange that will encompass the forex trading on the platform, cryptocurrency trading, the trading of different stock markets, and commodities, as well as exotic African currencies. Now, each one of these is being onboarded on our platform one at a go. Right now, we're still dealing with the crypto exchange part of it, and soon, I think in a couple of weeks or so, we'll be switching on our foreign exchange element on our platform. So basically, that's what it is. It's an exciting time to be able to bring this alive to our audience. More especially here in Africa, but it is a platform that offers all these services to a global audience. So it's exciting, and I do encourage people to participate.
Right. So, if I understand, Access is a platform to aid in commodities trading. Why would you advise people to go into commodity trading? Is it essential? Why should we go into commodity trading?
Well, our continent produces a lot of commodities. I think it's in the region of almost 40% of what is consumed globally comes from the African continent. Well, pricing is determined by global supply and demand, but if we do not participate in the trading of these commodities, basically we do not influence the supply and demand aspect of it. And therefore, if we are not a player and we're just one that produces the raw material, we shouldn't blame others when others start benefiting from, the lucrative aspect of it, where people make money from just trading these commodities without having to even produce them. So there is a great deal of an opportunity where people can pick up decent amounts of earnings profits from just trading the commodities without even having to produce them. So, well, when you have the producers, you can have just the traders that actually pick up these differences in pricing, and they can make a living out of it. Now, if we do not participate in that, that is actually a tragedy. And it's not just a tragedy, we're basically shortchanging ourselves, and that is what has been going on over the many, many years. And so we are a company that is a game changer. We would like to bring that to our, to our brothers and sisters here on the continent, even beyond. It's not just about Africa and beyond. People that can freely participate. I'm not saying there aren't any commodities exchanges out there. They're there, but they're structured in such a way that they're only influenced and positioned to advantage people in those communities. So basically, that's what it is.
Well, so I should say that the Acex platform makes it even more feasible for people to use. Because what we know is that to trade commodities, you need expertise, knowledge. How does Acex then come in as a bridge between the commodities that are being traded and the trader?
Well, yes, you do need a better knowledge to be able to trade the commodities on our exchange. And so, of course, we are going to be offering some training through some partnerships that we have developed with a few players in the market. And so if one wants to understand how they can participate once they come to our Acex platform, they look for the training button on our website. It will direct them to where they can get that kind of training. And of course, there are many other players around in the market that offer that kind of training to be able to offer simple educational materials that one can easily understand, and it's not one that is going to take many months of as far as I'm concerned. But we all learn at a different pace. So in fact, let me not. So you understand what I'm saying? So we all learn at a different pace, but some practical experience will also be essential. But as I said earlier on, this is something that one can make a decent living out of once they get to understand it. And that's not just commodities trading on our platform.
Of course.
It is in the trading of exotic African currencies, the cryptocurrencies, and the trading of the different assets that we're going to list on our exchange.
So that's where I want us to veer into now. There is, like you said, the services for crypto currency trading and all that. Now, this is Africa, okay, and you agree with me that Africa has not fully adopted cryptocurrencies, which is reason why a lot of African countries are not regulating. You come to Ghana, for instance, and cryptocurrency is not being regulated in the country. How do we introduce cryptocurrency fully on a platform like Acex to Africans?
Okay, first of all, surprisingly enough, Africa is actually one of those hottest regions where the adoption of crypto, is quite high. Nigeria, for example, I think is the second or the third country with the highest adoption of crypto in the world. And not only that, just around the African continent, it's amazing that the young people on our continent have adopted crypto more than many other regions, including the US. It's amazing to look at some statistics. I'm not saying we're the leading, but I think perhaps maybe in the next 18 months or so, we might even become the leading region in the world with the highest adoption rate, as it will be. So adoption is going on, massive adoption is going on around the world. It's not just Africa. I was just pointing out that there is a misconception that there is no adoption, but when in actual fact, this is where we actually seeing the world is actually seeing the.
We're not speaking specifically about the adoption, of course. I agree with your statistics, Nigeria and most parts of Africa. And I traveled to South Africa recently, and I was surprised to find a Bitcoin ATM at the Michelangelo mall. And it tells us. But then we speak about regulation. You know, in Ghana, for instance, the Bank of Ghana, the central bank, thought of establishing its own cryptocurrency that is having problems because cryptocurrency, they're thinking of how they're going to regulate the cryptocurrency market. And so that is why I'm asking you, how do we, introduce this to the regulators, the central banks in Africa?
Okay, we've been speaking to a number of regulators over the many months. Crypto is still largely, in fact, it's just unregulated on the African continent. It being unregulated does not make it illegal in any sense. It's just that it's not yet regulated. And when regulation comes into play, we'll all be partaking in what the rules will be at that point. But I think the regulators need to step on the accelerator and set some rules so that this industry that is extremely interesting, that is going to revolutionize how the trading of financial assets is done in a way that is beneficial to the different governments in terms of taxes and so on and so forth. Once it's regulated, we're going to see fair play take place, in the industry. So I think regulation is imminent. It's something that is going to take place, and I think we're going to be seeing more of that in the next 12 to 24 months across the African continent, and we're ready for it.
Well, Mr. Muller, I am certainly excited about the Acex platform. Let's go into how I can benefit. So consider that I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm coming up. I have some $50, $150 saved up. How do I benefit with this amount of money on the Acex platform?
Well, of course, there are many ways, but let me speak of the simplest ways. If you have $50, I would suggest one, and it's just a suggestion. I'm not giving anyone any financial advice, but it's just a suggestion. I would suggest one goes and invests in one of the companies that with a well figured out project. With perhaps a short turnaround time frame, with extreme dividends. That is what you'll find quite unique on our exchange, and that you have these startups and you have these junior mining projects and projects of that nature that offer extreme dividends in short turnaround periods. And so one would invest that and pick up some earnings, some dividends, and then perhaps be able to reinvest that. The other way, obviously, would be to take that and trade that in the crypto space or with exotic African currencies that is to come on our exchange in the weeks to come. and be able to pick up bite-sized profits from the differences, in the different in the I mean the differences in markets, that are going to be listed on our exchange. So those are some of the simple ways one can.
Okay, so this will go to an individual, but then let's consider that I'm an institutional investor, or perhaps I have an institution that goes into investments. Are there any returns for institutional investors who would want to partake on the platform?
Well, absolutely. As I just mentioned, that what I was just describing is not just for individuals; it's also for institutional investors, because there are institutional investors that are looking for extreme dividends from projects that have been well figured out in the fintech or junior mining arena, and with short turnaround or even with long-term with a long-term outlook. And so our exchange offers that in a more secure manner than many other platforms that you can think of. Needless to say, they can invest in the Acex itself. We have several of our own projects listed on our exchange, and so they could start from there. And we've been, in the market, we're well known for delivery, and so they can invest in our own projects. Needless to say.
Okay. So apart from investing in the listings, which other ways can young entrepreneurs or small companies benefit on the platform in terms of the listings of the companies, the products, and what have you?
Well, of course, the next obvious way they can benefit that I can think of is basically to trade, to list their own project on the exchange. Of course, that is for them to raise capital. Now, if they raise the capital and go and develop their projects, the only other way I can think of at the moment is for them to be able to trade the various assets on our exchange, and as like I've just described here, be able to pick up the differences, the earnings and profits and dividends. They could do that as a passive investor, semi-passive investor, or as an active investor. Those are the opportunities that we have on our exchange at the moment.
Well, your tagline, to rewrite the African history. Finally, you tell us, how are you doing that?
Well, we're rewriting the African story. That's our tagline. Yeah. We're rewriting it because you see, other people in the past have come to determine how we do things in the financial sector in Africa, and so we're here to rewrite all that by developing our own platforms to start with, by by offering, for example, African exotic currencies to be tradable freely, and this means that you'll soon be able to trade the Ghanaian cedi with, for example, the South African rand or the Kenya shilling. That we are actually going to rewrite that. It's not been done yet actively on a tradable platform. We'll be able to offer that. We offer, we're writing the African story by offering opportunities to just virtually anyone, not just the young people. Just anyone with access to the internet can now create an income for themselves by participating on our exchange. As you know, unemployment on the African continent is quite high, and for us to offer these opportunities to virtually anyone with an internet access is a great way to rewrite the African story, because you now don't have to go looking for jobs all the time when you can actually just get a little bit of education and financial education, and with an internet connection, you can actually create an income. So that is a great way we're going to be rewriting the African story by getting many people to participate in the financial markets. The other aspect is there's a lot of dead capital on our continent. And so we want to rewrite the African story by bringing that dead capital alive, by offering an exchange like this that will be accessible to just virtually anyone. And it is not an instrument, it's not a platform for the elite. It is a platform for just anyone. Even someone with just a little bit of funds in a mobile money wallet on their phone, they'll be able to participate on our exchange. And so that is how we want to completely rewrite the African story, by bringing millions of people to come and participate in financial markets and develop an income for themselves.
Well, that's certainly interesting. So, in that bid to invite, I understand that you have what you call the term coin. Now, how does this differ from the many cryptocurrencies that we have, and why the choice to go crypto in itself, and in telling us that, if you can tell us how the ordinary Ghanaian like myself can benefit from term coin.
Okay, yes, we do have our own coin, the term coin. It's still in the private sale. Next month we're going to go public. Now, the term coin is the main medium of exchange on our African Consolidated exchange. It is the coin that those projects that wish to raise capital on our exchange, they're going to raise their capital using the term coin. Now, the benefits, of course, of one investing or acquiring the term coin is that over time it's going to appreciate in value, because obviously because of the activity that is going to happen in exchange. Needless to say, a great part of that is what the public is going to use to store away, to invest in the various projects that are going to be listed on the exchange, thereby creating that intrinsic value of that digital currency. Now, what is the difference between our 10 coin and others? Well, there are many. I mean, these days there's so many cryptos out there, and each one of them has their own use case. Here, the use case, like I said, it's just not for the purpose of raising capital for the various players that are going to list on our exchange, but it is actually also the coin that our own projects are utilizing to drive activity and and attract investors to invest in those companies. So, needless to say, it is also the coin, as we go public, that one can easily trade on an exchange, from picking up differences between the assets of, for example, one currency or rather one company to another. And so it is a fantastic instrument that we have in our whole offering. A very, very unique. The pricing, I think, is one that is affordable, and we see the 10 coin to have potential to actually quadruple, if not grow tenfold in the next 18 months. So anyone who's looking for serious growth there, they need to consider the 10 coin and have a lot of faith in it, because I see and I know the projects that we ourselves are involved in, and other projects that are knocking on the door, that are at the stage of due diligence, that are going to be listed on exchange, that are extremely lucrative, and should drive that that coin in terms of value, drive it northwards, so to speak. So it's a fantastic instrument. And I think that answers that question. If I hope I've not forgotten the
Well,
other part. I
well,
think
you definitely have touched on those aspects that we're trying to get into. But finally, I think cryptocurrency is quite interesting, and for Temcoin, for instance, and the growth rates that you've indicated to us, obviously a lot of people like myself would want to jump onto Temcoin. But then the thing is, regardless the adoption of cryptocurrencies in or crypto trading in Africa, we realize that there are a lot more people who want to get onto the platform, or people who are even onto other platforms but do not know their ways around because they do not fully understand. You agreed also that it needs some amount of knowledge into it. How are you helping, people who do not have the full knowledge, perhaps providing free courses or free training to help them understand, especially that you have introduced a new platform and a new coin, crypto coin?
okay. First of all, thank you to media outlets such as yours that can invite us to have this sort of discussion. So we have been invited by a number of media houses. So that creates, first of all, the awareness. And then those that have shown great interest, we do invite them to our, for example, introducing partnership programs where they can come to a webinar, a Zoom call, where they are introduced to what what the opportunities are for them to participate, for example, as just an introducing broker. And then in those forums, we have our other partners that offer training, and then our own staff are able to point them in the right direction as to which partner they can sign up with for some training. Right now we have a great partner in Uganda, called Now One, that is offering educational materials for anyone that wants to understand the crypto, the crypto world, and be able to make money from the industry. Now, there is not a long business. We have another coming up in Kenya. We have another one coming up in South Africa. And so they're everywhere. In fact, we have also a very good partner in Nigeria called Best. And these partners are the ones that offer these services and, training facilities. And as we now pick up momentum in the year 2022, we see an aggressive onboarding of newbies, so to speak, people who are completely new to the industry, coming on board our partner facilities for them to get a lot more education. And what we see, it's not just the youth. Of course, the youth account for almost 80% of the people that show interest in what we're doing. But there is another 20% of a combination of the senior citizens and the middle-aged folks that are quite keen to understand what is best thing that is now changing the way financial markets are going to look like going forward. So yes, of course, for us, it's not that we want to nudge anyone out. Of course, the youth are the ones that are going to be here tomorrow. So if 80% of them on the continent are quite keen to learn crypto, remember, they are the ones that are going to be in office tomorrow, and they'll be in office for a very long time. And so if they come to understand the dynamics, the ins and outs of crypto, and the lucrativeness of the industry, and that actually this evolution where we are at the moment is what the future is going to be, I think we are in for some good business going forward, because
Well,
after all are the numbers.
Well, Mr. Muller, certainly a great way of rewriting the African story, and we're looking forward to Acex to coming out with more and roping all of us onto the platform that we can all benefit and together grow. as a continent. We're grateful for your time this morning, and we'll invite you for some further conversations to give us more details.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. So that was Mr. Ian Mola. He is the founder and CEO of Acex. Acex is a platform, a new platform that was introduced in December to aid, to bring you closer to trading in talks of cryptocurrencies, commodity trading, stock exchange as well, providing a platform for companies to list their products and the companies itself. These are arrays of investments that you can veer into if you're a youth and if you're technologically savvy. Cryptocurrency is like the thing right now, and ASIC is not just launching a platform but also introducing to you their own coin, their own cryptocurrency called the term coin, and such amazing growth rates. I think that you should quickly jump onto that. Myself, I'm going to jump onto that and make some money for myself and for posterity. It has been an interesting conversation by far. It's been an interesting day, and I will bring you nothing else but good things to life. My name is Reginald Adi. I did this with Anastasia Abadu. A big thank you to the entire technical team, our producers, directors, for making this morning's show a successful one. We'll come your way tomorrow with some further conversations. So then, have a lovely day and set the pace with your Monday.